Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is Force and today we will be checking out Transistor. I've been playing this game for about 3 hours now and it's supposed to be a fairly short experience, I think averaging 4 to 5 hours. I thought I'd give you my initial impressions. We're just gonna hop right in. We're actually gonna be thrown right into the mix of things. I'm saved at a point where action is taking place. So there's actually gonna be some people chasing me right now. I'm gonna pause right now. This game features a pause combat system. It's pretty interesting. Before we get into the combat though, I'd like to talk with you sort of about the setting. So I'm gonna not try to spoil too much of the story, although some of it will be told through the dialogue that you'll be hearing in this video. But the general premise is that you're playing as this character named Red. Red was a singer, and some people have wronged her and killed somebody that she loved, and you're trying to basically avenge the death of that person and figure out the mystery as to what's going on with this town that's being invaded by these robot creatures. Now let's talk about the combat. The game's combat system is very interesting. You've got an array of different abilities to choose from, and you can choose whether those abilities will be active abilities, like I've got 4 active on my bar here, whether they will be upgrades for active abilities, such as the ones that you see below here, or if they will be passive abilities. So as you play through the game, you discover these, and then you get to decide how you want to use them. So any of the upgrades that I have attached to these 4 abilities can be active abilities themselves. And so basically you've got the main function of a skill, you've got a way to alter it, and then you've got a passive benefit too. But let's just talk about the combat now. Now you can approach combat in this game one of 2 ways. You can focus on the tactical pausing like you see me do here, or you can play it actively, in which you're just moving around fighting. Now I'm going to show you the pause system first. So here we go. At the top there's the bar that shows you how many moves you have for the turn. So if I move around, that's going to use up some of it as a run. You can reset each of your moves pretty simply, and you can also line up your different shots. So my first ability, Breach, here, this is a line shot, and I'll be able to hit both of these weeds with it, and that's going to be the game plan. And then I'm going to queue up my number 4, which is Load. This will put a packet on the ground, which I can then attack to explode and have that damage enemies. So that is all set up. We've used up all of our actions for the turn, so we're going to hit spacebar to unpause, and then those will go through. Now the benefit to doing this over the typical over the active combat where we're not pausing is that in this mode, oh gosh, in the running around mode, there's no time slow, if you will. So we get a slowing up of the time. If Run Away is not responding, this ability that I'm using actually stuns him, so I'm able to just spam that. But when you go into the pause mode, it slows up time and allows you to quickly do multiple actions before an enemy responds. These things right here, if you're wondering why they're just sitting there, they're basically health regeneration points, so the enemy would go to these to replenish some health, and the idea is that we want to kill them. We also take damage if we stand around them. Okay, so that encounter we have just completed, and it finished up. You get some experience, and you also get experience based off of these modifiers. And don't worry, I'm going to explain things to you sort of as we progress, but you don't have to do that pausing at all. You can just run around and play this game as like an active combat, which is, it can work pretty well, but things get rather crazy from time to time. So we can take a look at the cluckers here. These are a special enemy type. You can see they're all sitting by those chairs. Actually, I don't have any idea what's going on right now. Like, I have understood how the story's progressed so far, but in this is a brand new area that I haven't been to. And in fact, that's something that's worth mentioning. Look at those cluckers up top. The way the game's progression works is that as you move from point to point, there's checkpoints, and there doesn't appear to be a way to go back to like a previous save point. You're ever moving forward, essentially. These OVC terminals, this is a way that storytelling takes place in the game, and you get snippets of what's going on within the world. So let's just go up and click on this and see what we get here. Okay, Red 27, mourned as process toll climbs. Huh. So this is apparently something about the vigil of my character, the one that you play as, known as Red. So let's read the full story here. Yeah, so okay, so one of Cloudblink's most influential voices has gone silent amid the process. The process are these robot-type creatures. epidemic spreading throughout the city unchecked. Red became active as a musician from a young age, though her popularity surged in recent years as her songs consistently charted the top 10th percentile for the past 5 years, according to OVC data. While Red is but 1 of 1,000 of disappearances this week, thousands more gathered to honor her life of a musician. So apparently the rest of the world in this game thinks I'm dead. And we can leave a comment. Now, we don't type it out. This is all pre-scripted. But normally they go through like a few different options until Red settles on one. Let's see what she picks. Oh, I see. They're talking to each other. So Red lost her voice in the process of everything that's happened, and the person that she loved trapped within this sword, or the one that's the narrator of this game, she'll sometimes talk to through these terminals because, again, she herself can't actually speak. All right, so we can head into the amphitheater parkway, which we'll do. All right, so here's an access point, and this is a very important thing for you guys to see. This is the skill system. So these are all the skills that I've unlocked so far, and you unlock these by leveling up and by finding them within the world. I believe you have to find them first, and then when you level up, you'll get access to them. Just prior to recording this video, I had actually unlocked 2 brand new abilities, or functions as they're called, but they don't appear here, so it must just be that I have to level up. So on the left-hand side, this is your memory bank. Each one of these abilities takes up a set number of memory, which is indicated by these little bars that are right here. So if I want to use this ability, it's going to take up 1 memory slot. Now you can see I'm capped at the moment of 20 out of 20, and that used to be 16 cap, and then I got an upgrade when I leveled up. So let's take a look at, we can inspect the function. So let's inspect this one. Let's look at the details. So 3 different abilities for these functions. The active slot ability, in which you're using it as a skill, so it will harm and disrupt nearby targets, exposing vulnerabilities. There's its damage, there's a stun duration, and there's the cost for when you're using a turn, which is the pause combat aspect of it. But instead of using it as an active ability, I can use it as an upgrade slot effect, in which I will put it as an upgrade for another ability, and it says what it does, which is cause most functions to stun and disrupt the targets. So I can take this, and instead of using it as my active ability, I can attach it to another ability, which will make that ability also stun in addition to whatever its base effect is. Or if I put it in a passive slot, we will gain damage resistance and immunity to all slowing effects. Well, that's pretty nice. Immunity to slow, disable, and then user damage is resisted by 25%. That's actually really good. I might want to use this as a passive ability, but you can't mix and match. You have to choose. So I can't use this as an active and then as a passive and then as an upgrade. I can't do all 3 of those. You have to make a decision, and that's where things get really, really interesting in this game. So we can mix some things up. So maybe if I get rid of this, and then, so let's get rid of that passive, or maybe we'll just put, maybe we'll just put another passive. Let's draw cells faster. This allows me to move much further in a single turn. I don't want to get rid of that. Well, just for the sake of this, so let's put this here, just for the sake of showing you. Okay, then we go back. So that's now saved. So now when I do this, we get a pull effect. So notice that pull effect that it leaves behind. So let's try that with these things. Oh, it looks like it leaves a pull effect behind. Oh, well, those guys are rooted in place, so that was a bad example. But it's a different effect. I mean, you saw the different visually. Like that thing wasn't there before, so now we've got a pull thing attached to it. I'm gonna go back to the setup that I had. Again, I just wanted to sort of show you that. But lots and lots of different options, custom ability. Eventually, you'll have 4 passive slots and 2 upgrade slots for every active ability. And I also think during one of my level ups, I had a choice to get a 5th active slot available. However, I decided to choose something else over that simply because you can see I've got slots open and I don't even have enough memory to use them all at the moment. So it didn't make a lot of sense for me to have a 5th active ability when I had 4 active and there was still an upgrade slot and a passive slot that were not being used up essentially. So besides that, I'll show you a little bit more combat. There's one more thing in this game. There are these hidden doors which will lead to sort of the central area where you can just hang out, and there's like a little bit of testing that takes place. All right, so here we go. So I'm gonna try just doing a little bit of the active, although this will probably go pretty poorly because it feels like a lot of times you really do need to take advantage of the pausing. I think the biggest thing is simply the fact that, gosh, this is so annoying. I mean, I'm almost, like, I've gone to my emergency turn right now. So, and if you die at your emergency turn, which I will here, you're gonna actually lose one of your abilities. So let me just show you that. So I'm gonna run around still doing. So there we go. I just lost the ability overload, and it's a big pain in the butt. You have to wait till you go to a few more terminals. You have to wait till you go through a few more terminals to actually get those abilities back. So if I ever lose them, I just pretty much leave like you just saw me do there. So we're gonna go back in. When you do that, you will be brought back to your last save point. All right, so we're gonna try to find these guys. We're gonna line them up here and go for some, I don't wanna do that. Go for some damage. That is actually quite a bit. That actually might kill both of these. No, you know what? That's actually not gonna work the way I want it to because these guys are gonna move. Oh, so very close. All right, so once you do a pause turn, there's also a moment of time where things have to recharge, and that further makes it, what the hell? I'm disrupted? That further makes it sort of problematic. That further makes it problematic if you use this pause system. Okay, so while I'm, whoa. What is going on? I don't know what this disruption thing is, but it's really annoying. Oh man, they've got this disruption effect which stops me from doing my my pause combat thing. That is very frustrating. So when you go into pause combat mode, it puts a lot of your abilities on cooldown. I don't know if I can do it outside of combat here. I'm gonna try it. So it puts, see these abilities, they're on cooldown while this bar charges up. So that's also a drawback to the pausing. Whereas if you do active combat, there is never a cooldown on your abilities. You can just spam them. But again, with the pause combat, you get the benefit of a time slow, as well as not having these, essentially it seems like the damage abilities are put on cooldown. I'll show you again. So I can spam these 1, 2, 3, 4. I can just keep hitting these abilities, no big deal. But if I do the pause combat, okay. Now 1, 2, and 4 are on cooldown. I can still hit my 3, but until that top bar charges up, I can't do 1, 2, and 4. So yeah, there's pros and cons to both of them. All right, so here is the deal. All right, so I'm gonna go with these guys real quick. And I think I'd actually like to, well, let's just go with the second one of these, I think. All right, so let's do that. So we're gonna stun this guy first. They're gonna have 2 of the backstabbing abilities, so we're able to kill one of those, which is good. And then as soon as that recharges, whoo, perfect, okay. So I'm gonna hit this guy now, like that. And then I'm also gonna throw this down. This is my packet. And then I will hit it to launch it. Well, actually, that's not even gonna do anything. I was hoping that it launched to this guy, but it doesn't appear to be doing that. So what I'll do is actually I'll move forward, and then we'll put the packet right here. And then I will launch, oh, I can't launch the packet after that move. So let's just do another one of these then. Or actually, let's do one of these, because this could potentially stun that guy as well. So we'll do a few crashes. And then one of, I'll throw one here, so maybe that'll hit that guy too. Okay, so here we go, moving forward, doing that. We killed that guy. We got a couple of stuns on that guy. And once these robots die, you actually need to pick up those little things on the ground, or else they're gonna respawn. The one last thing that I didn't show you back at the start was the functions, which I will show you in just 1 minute. So first we're gonna crash that guy, and then I think I'll go with this, because this is some pretty massive damage. Okay, so we'll go like this. Crash, you get backstab benefit for some abilities too. Oh, beautiful. So I need to pick up those cells. If I don't pick up those cells, these things will respawn, which is bad news, because then that means they're alive again, and you don't want that to be you don't want to have to deal with them 2 times, do you? No, of course not. All right, so we get some pretty massive damage from this, and then we'll throw one of those at him as well. Boom. Okay, so the one last thing that I didn't show you though were the limiters. So if I let this, well, I'll let this happen. If I don't pick this up in, oh crap, I'm sorry. If I didn't pick that up in time, he would have respawned. and he would have been right back, and I would have still had to fight him. Also, your little health bar right here, this does not recharge in a turn. There might eventually be functions which allow me to do that, but as of now, everything I've played, there is no recharging of your health while you're in a combat scenario like you just saw. The last thing I didn't show you guys were these limiters here. Limiters are a way to make your game more difficult and get an experience bonus. So you can see both of these I have active right here. And they give me a 2% user level bonus. So at the end of every combat phase, like the scenario you just saw, depending on how many of these limiters you have active, you'll get an increase in your experience, you'll level up faster. So I've got these two active. I also have some available like this one. It'll make it so that the process will spawn shielded cells when terminated. So those cells that I have to pick up to stop them from respawning, they'll have a shield on them, which means I've got to actually break the shield before I can pick them up. That's really annoying, and that's why I decided not to do that. And then this one makes it so that you lose access to 6 memory. So the 20 cap that I have right now would go down to 14, but I get a bonus of 4%. And you can see these this is a annoying one, so you get a pretty big benefit from that as 4% as opposed to these 2% ones. Yeah, and that's how it works. The limiters, you can see it looks like we've got 4, 8, 9, 10 that will be total, and if you activated this all, the game would be a lot harder, but you get leveling up much, much quicker than you would otherwise. Okay, so let's go back here. And I think that's pretty much it. We took a look at the combat system. We talked about limiters in the game. It's pretty interesting. It is. I do really like it. Now again, it is a fairly short game, although I do recall hearing that there will be a new game plus. Love the look of it, love the sound in this game, and also to coincide with any music that takes place, there is this humming feature. So Red will just hum along with whatever song happens to be playing in the background. And sometimes the sword will also sing along. It's really neat. The game is just oozing with atmosphere, which I absolutely love. Again, the artistic direction, the soundtrack is phenomenal. It's, you know, that's a taste thing, right? But me personally, I just think that the game soundtrack is very fantastic. Love the world, even though it does appear to be a relatively short game, like I do believe I'm coming up on the end of things now. It's been a lot of fun. The combat system is super interesting and deep with all those different combinations. You know, I didn't really show you many variations, but I feel like I hopefully gave you at least a good idea as to how it's supposed to work. I don't know what's going on here, but I think it's probably gonna be something pretty bad. So we're gonna cut the video right here, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Once again, this has been Force taking a look at Transistor. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you the next time. Thanks so much for watching. Keep watching, and keep owning.